share, recipe share. Share a little recipe with recipe share. Recipe share, recipe share. Share a little recipe with recipe share.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Recipe Share, a program on AADL TV where we take a few minutes to talk about recipes in a featured category. Today's category is hidden vegetables. I'm Katie, and as usual, I'm joined by Elizabeth and Beth, who will tell us about their recipes. So, Beth, tell us what you chose today.
Okay. Well, I didn't even make it. My Kurt made I realize it's not really hidden because it was a beet pasta sauce. You can't hide purple beets very well. We got a lot of beets toward the end of our CSA season. So, and I don't like beets, but I remembered years ago, Kurt made the sauce, and actually we were going to have this not even in relation to this category. But anyway, so it's beautiful. If you love purple pasta, so cool. But I gotta be honest, I was probably more mental on my part, but just like as I started eating it, I just wasn't into it. But it's gorgeous. So this recipe came from the M Live from 2013, but I think it was just a Google situation. It called for 3 to 4 medium large beets, roasted, peeled, cut into chunks, 1 large onion, finely chopped, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, finely chopped, 1 to 2 tablespoons of finely chopped mixture of herbs. It says thyme, marjoram, tarragon. I don't think we did not have thyme, but he put in parsley and marjoram and maybe I don't know if he put in tarragon. I don't know. It was pretty herbal. Some olive oil, white wine, and then topped it with feta cheese. This recipe, called for goat cheese. So you saute the onions, garlic, add the beets, the wine. You process it once it's and then get it really soft. Thin it if you need to with cream or wine or broth, and then you mix with the pasta and cook it on. Which, by the way, we also had spaghetti squash in the pasta. So that was hidden. And I've got a picture of it in the pot. It's very pretty, but not my favorite. But I tell you, if you like beets, it's wonderful. Now, we had the grandkids over and they had it. They were kind of picking around it. What is this? They do not need their vegetables hidden, by the way. They love vegetables. So they decided they wanted white noodles instead. So it didn't go over with them or really me, but it's just, like I said, it's in my head. But anyway, that was it. Beet pasta sauce.
Well, I don't know. I really love beets, and that sounds like a lot of beets. I was thinking because I've seen recipes where it's mixed together with some tomato sauce, like it's kind of in with the tomatoes, but it's just like it's all beet, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of beets. But I do love that it was beautiful, so that's good.
It's really cool looking. And there's some leftovers. I I'm gonna try it again. I don't know. It's just that they taste like dirt, to be honest with you. Um, Sweet dirt. And I like my dirt salty.
I like beets. I remember years ago I made a beet pesto that, it's different than this, but it was that bright pink purple color. Yeah, I would try this. I don't
I
know.
think
It
you
sounds
should.
good.
And I've also found that with the orange beets, they have a little bit different flavor. I think that would also be
Mhm.
tasty. And maybe adding a little more tomato sauce to it would be.
Mhm.
I think he did add some tomatoes, maybe tomato paste.
Mhm.
Anyway, that was my hidden, not so hidden vegetable. Um, Elizabeth, what did you make this time?
Okay, mine is not that dissimilar from Beth's, although it does not involve beets. But I was I wasn't feeling super inspired by this category because, as Beth mentioned, I don't have to hide my veggies. I love veggies. Usually I like to highlight them, and I don't have children, so I don't need to, there's no one, I'm not cooking for anyone who's like needs to be tricked into eating their broccoli or whatever. Um, but one thing I do get a lot, I get a ton of veggies in my CSA, and sometimes I do struggle to use them all up. I often find myself making just a vegetable soup. So I found a recipe from this is from the Modern Nona and like a grandma for hidden veggie pasta sauce. And so I decided to give this a go. And it's pretty flexible, but I did have all of these things. So basically, you're going to heat some olive oil in a pan, and you throw in an onion, some sliced up celery, some sliced up carrots, sliced bell pepper, sliced zucchini, and you just cook it until everything's pretty soft. Then you add in some garlic and a cup and a half of tomato sauce. So I just used a can. I think what you could also do if you had tomatoes is you could just throw in a bunch of like diced tomatoes or small tomatoes. That would work fine too. And then you reduce the heat to low and cover the pan with a lid. Just let it simmer. Um, so the weird thing about this recipe is it didn't actually call for really any spices except salt. So I threw in some, I put in some oregano, I put in some dried basil, just added that in. And then you remove it from the heat and you blend it until it's smooth. And that worked fine. And then, you are supposed to toss it with pasta with some Parmesan, which I did. And it was really tasty. And I mean, I was impressed. There's a lot of veg in there, and typically for me, I would have probably just cut all that up and had it with pasta, but it was actually kind of nice making it into a sauce. And I think that, what I would like to try is I would like to do it with, um, maybe some sweet potato and also maybe some squash, because I think that would kind of give it a little bit of a creamier texture. Um, that so I think I will try it again. But it was super easy. I had some sauce left over, which I just saved, and then I used it again. I put it over, I sometimes I make like a rice bowl in the morning, so I'd like put it on that. I mean, it's veggies, it's good. So yeah, I thought, it was good. And I thought if you did have a picky eater, obviously you can't tell what veggies are in there. So it was a good tactic. So I enjoyed it.
I like that for like if you have a surplus, bunch of veggies left over, that's a great way to use them up. And then you can freeze it. Oops, I might have given away something. Just kidding. Yeah, I like it.
I think that's great too for using up things and for using things that may not be your favorite. Like, were I to end up with a bunch of zucchini or squash, this would be an awesome recipe for me because now it's pasta sauce. So that's wonderful. I think it sounds delicious. And yeah, you could do just about anything with that. Very
Yeah.
cool.
The only thing they mentioned was like, don't do anything too fibrous because it
Right.
won't blend down. But I mean, there's so much room for, you could throw cauliflower in there, whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right, Katie, I'm excited to hear about your hidden veggies.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to tell you that it's not all that exciting of a recipe. I didn't find anything super innovative or creative or anything, but I have been making this a lot and I really like it, so I thought I would share it with you all. It is for a chocolate spinach milkshake. And I have adapted this recipe a little bit, but it originally came from the website reallittlemeals.com. So you just got your blender And you're gonna throw all the ingredients in. You start with 2 frozen bananas, which is something that I almost always have on hand because we consistently buy more bananas than we can eat before they start to go brown. We don't like them brown at all, so I ended up tossing them in the freezer. So I've always got frozen bananas. So that's a great base for this. And then you throw in a tablespoon of cocoa powder, a tablespoon of nut butter. I just use regular old peanut butter that I've got in the cupboard, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a cup of skim milk is what I use, but you can use whatever kind of milk you want. And then use a half a cup of spinach, which when you really pack down a half a cup of spinach, that's like a side salad worth. It's like a lot of spinach. So there's some good vitamins and nutrients in there. And then I add a drizzle of honey just to get it a little bit sweeter. I think it's okay, and I've definitely had it without the honey, but I do prefer it to be just a touch sweeter, and the honey takes care of that wonderfully. You just blitz all of that in your blender. If you've got one that's got a smoothie setting, that's great. I just usually stop it about halfway in between the mixing to scrape down the sides because sometimes the spinach does creep its way up, and since you kind of do want it to be hidden here, you want to make sure you get it all blended. So just scrape down the sides, finish blitzing it. It really does completely disappear. Like when you first start blending, you can see like little green chunks in it, but by the time the smoothie setting is done, it is like completely gone. And the last couple times I've made this, I've poured it into a tall glass and added a little bit of sugar-free whipped topping and some chocolate sprinkles to the top to make it a little fancy. And I just really like this for when I'm in a hurry. It's great because it takes about 5 minutes to throw this all together. If you've got the right kind of cup, it's portable. So this is really nice, like, especially if it's early in the morning. I know I've got a big day ahead. I don't really like to eat a lot early in the morning, but this like gives you some sustenance, the nut butter and the spinach and everything, and usually keeps me full for a couple of hours. So this is definitely a recipe that I love, and I'm gonna return to again and again.
Well, you know, I am not a smoothie person, but that does sound really good. And I keep meaning to give them a try because, I mean, not that I haven't tried a smoothie, but I keep meaning to experiment with them at home because it is such a great way to pack in some great nutrients and vitamins and all that. And it's quick, and then you can have it on the go, which is all good things. So sounds good.
Yeah, you could put kale in there too. It just needs to be
Oh,
whipped up. Yep.
yeah, microgreens, sprouts, like pretty much any
Yeah.
sort of green that you've got on hand, I think would go. I just like almost always have spinach, so that's
Mm.
what I've used in it. But I did intend to try. I did and do intend to try some other things thrown in there as well.
I just want to mention before I landed on the beet sauce, I had made just inadvertently, I had some chicken salad and I had some cooked spinach and I mixed those together and it was really good chicken salad. It was kind of reminiscent of like a spinach dip. And it
Yeah,
was from that same week where I think you both shared that your spinach dips, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, so I thought that I almost shared that, but then I just did just now. So
yeah,
it wasn't your recipe, but yeah, I thought that was a really good way to just use up the spinach and make it into a sandwich.
definitely. That sounds great. I love cooked spinach and I love chicken salad. So, yeah, it sounds awesome.
Good.
Okay, well, we want to thank everybody for watching Recipe Share, and be sure to click the link below to look at the event page on aadl.org to find the recipes we talked about and to share your own in the comments. Join us next time when our category will be freezer friendly. We're looking forward to seeing what you've been making, so thanks for sharing.
Recipe share, recipe share, share a little recipe with recipe share.